Ho, ho, ho. Oh, man. Hey out there in Happy Land. This is Frisky Biscuit. I'm Dr. G with my cohort,
Lisa.
And guess what? You're probably seeing something different in the background. We're going to use Redfish Lake as our backdrop today. We took a little trip, and man, I'll tell you what, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to keep this place secret, but I don't think we can do that any longer.
No. We were very lucky to get there this year. We had reservations in June and had to cancel because it was snowing. There's this huge summit that you go over to get to Redfish Lake.
Galena Summit.
Yep.
What a beautiful, man, that alone is a trip. It's gorgeous there.
Yeah, so we got really lucky to go this year in end of August. Beautiful.
Redfish Lake, I've been going there since I was a little kid, and this place is stunningly beautiful. It looks a lot like Banff, Canada, and the Tetons here in the western United States, but it's got its own charm, and it is a lake community, a tiny little community built around a lodge, and this lodge has been there for, 100 years now?
Almost. It started in 1929 is when they opened their doors. And there's a marina that takes people, you can have your boat there, or you can rent one of their boats, or they have a shuttle that takes you all the way to the end of the lake. And we'll put some pictures up for you too. It's just one of the most magic places I've ever been to.
We're not going to be able to put pictures on Spotify though, so we're going to have to explain it a little bit.
Oh. Well, there's just these, how would you explain it? Just these canyon-like cliffs that are right beside you as you go down this long, thin lake. And it's quite high in elevation. It's 6,500, a little over that, 6,500 feet. And it's a long lake. It's 4.5 miles long and 3/4 of a mile wide, and about 11 miles of shoreline that go around the outside of it. So there's all these cool hikes at the end of the lake. There's a 17-mile one that goes around the lake. So there's a lot to do there. It's all your lodge experience along with great fishing, great water sports. There's a dog beach. You can take your dog there.
They actually have a dog beach. Of course, I've noticed as we travel, everybody's got a dog. I think you and I are the only two people that don't have a dog with
I know.
us.
Maybe we ought to get a stuffed dog.
I want to get a weenie dog.
A weenie dog
is the way to go. Yeah. Anyway, Redfish is surrounded by these granite peaks that are stunning. It looks very similar to the Tetons. And it's a Sawtooth Mountain Range, which was declared a wilderness area and protected. So there's no summer homes there. There's no big log cabins. This is one of the only civilized looking places there near Stanley that's actually habitated, and they've allowed building. But there's not much of it, and it's all rustic.
Thank goodness. I think that's what really makes Redfish Lake to me so special, is because you don't have all those vacation homes there. The only place to stay is either in the lodge or bringing your own motorhome. There's a lot of camping areas. We stay in the same one every year. You have to get reservations way ahead. They open the gate open on the internet, and boom, they're gone within an hour or so.
But they say right after Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The thing I noticed though, and what we found out, is we had a long conversation with the host, and we'll talk about a couple that we met, Mark and Trish from KYD. We've been following them for years, and they actually sat next to us at breakfast, and we had quite a long conversation with them. We'll talk a little bit more as we go along about them. However, I wanted to mention they could not find camping, so they did a dry camping. And what we learned from the camp host, who we happened to camp right across from him, so we got to know him quite well. He was a hoot. He was so fun. And every day he gets a paper that tells of reservations and cancellations. He had 11 cancellations over Labor Day weekend, which is a lot. And he filled them up quite quickly because there's a lot of people that travel through that are just seeing if there's campgrounds. So if you're out camping and you're one of the campers out there, check in with the host. Always check with the host, because you never know.
We learned our lesson on that because we missed out on a killer sight. If we had
It
just
was the
asked
best
for it,
one.
he'd have given it to us.
It was the best
And
one
a view
there.
of these granite peaks. Wake up in the morning, and there they are.
And they had shade. That's a big thing out there. Shade and a
90
view. There's only a few of those.
Right, totally. Shade is a commodity. That's no kidding.
And if we had known that, if we had known to talk to the host, we would have got the primo spot because somebody had canceled. So they don't show up online like you would think right away. The camp host fills them up.
Yeah, we're not supposed to probably say that, but it is. Politics plays a game out there, the wild wilderness of the Forest Service. Mm-hmm. And if it's not where you know, it's who you know. And man, I tell you what, it was a great time. Hated to leave, be honest with you. Hated to leave and come back. But boy, I tell you what, as you can look behind us here, that is what the lodge looks like on its little shore. By the way, the water right behind us that you're viewing is, how deep is that?
I would say maybe 3 feet for quite a ways out. So it's perfect for little children or dogs, or getting on your paddleboard. If you have a paddleboard or a kayak or a canoe and you want to bring it along, or you can rent them there. It's perfect. So if you fall out, you're not in really deep water. You're only up to your knees.
It's even certified for me.
Yeah, it was fun watching everybody, and it's not overly crowded. It can get crowded, like Labor Day was quite crowded, but it's not overly crowded. So because they only have so many spots, and it is a destination to get up there. It's about an hour and a half from Sun Valley. It's about 2.5 hours from where we're at. So it's something you plan to go to. It's not something you wake up in the morning, unless you have the whole day and just go, hey, let's go to Redfish Lake. But most people spend the night. And again, there's lots and lots and lots of camping. It's really, generations of families have come and are really treasured guests. When we talk, we have an interview that we're going to put on in a minute to let you know, we talked to the owners. It's the owner's son, I believe.
I believe so, Austin. And
yeah.
What a wonderful young man. And he's basically one of the managers of this place now. It's been family for 20-some years.
Yeah, and people come every year. They give them priority to book when they come for that stay. So they'll have come for 13 or 14 years, and they can always book the same place for the next year, which I think that's great. It really keeps that family together. And I mean, the lodge, built in 29, is almost original of what it was back then. When Redfish Lake first opened, they had a gas station, which they no longer have. You have to go to Stanley. There were 8 canvas tent cabins, a dining room, a kitchen, and a small dock and motorboats. Well, one of the interesting things about the motorboats, there was another gentleman that actually had the rights to the dock and to the motorboats. And he was going to open, they were working together to open it. However, he passed away right before. And there was all these challenges for the original owner. His name was Richard Limbert. If you go to the lodge, and I actually took a picture of him, he was a real outdoorsman, and he just loved the outdoors, and he picked the perfect spot. One, because the water is really low, so you can get in and out of your motorboats, and you can dock them there quite easily.
He was a marksman, too. So if you didn't own a motorboat, watch out.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an excellent shot.
He had a hard time opening it back in 29, because remember, 29 was the Depression, too. However, he had a couple of really interesting people that a lot of them were going to invest with him, and during the stock market they lost their money, so he almost lost the lodge at one point. But he had the J.L. Kraft, founder of Kraft Cheese Company, or the factory, invest with him as well. So if you go there, right as you go into the dining room, there's a picture of him. So check that out.
He was a real cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The real deal.
He was the real deal, and a lot of people want to make fun of that, but he packed a gun, wore chaps, he rode a horse, and he was a cool guy, good-looking guy.
Yeah. And he had quite the vision. There's rooms upstairs that are the original rooms that you can stay in, and we stayed, a couple years ago now,
right,
in one of the rooms. The thing you have to know, though, is, it's an old hotel, right? It's really old, from the 29s, and so you don't have a bathroom. You share a bathroom with everybody. So in the middle of the night, you may be knocking on the door.
I have trauma over staying there, because when I hear the word occupied, You know, I swear I could get up in the middle of the night in this place, and the same guy was in the restroom at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and you go through the door and you go, occupied, you know, and I wonder if he's still there.
Probably.
I tell you know, I'm not big on sharing bathrooms. It was interesting.
You know, they also have some rustic cabins. They have 21 rustic cabins, and they're super cute. They look like the little KOA cabins that you can come and rent as well. They're very popular. And 11
They're log cabins.
Yeah, they're log cabins.
Like the real deal.
The whole thing is log, so it's cool. And they have 11 motel-style rooms that you can rent too. So it's quite the property. It's on 16 acres. It's right in the forest. You feel like you're in the forest, and all of a sudden you have this lake there, which is great. And they're a restaurant. If you go, definitely eat at the restaurant. You can eat breakfast or dinner. And then outside they have a kiosk. Has some of the best French fries. They have ice cream. They have tacos and burgers. All the stuff the fun
That's
stuff
like
you
the
can
best
find.
part for me is just riding those little tiny bikes of ours over there and hanging out at the snack bar outside. It's pretty well done, and it's got anything you want. And I tell you, their burgers and their fries are amazing.
Well,
It's like the best French fries I've ever eaten in my life.
They source, since we're in Idaho, it's known for its fries, right? It's known for its potatoes. And they source all their food, the most that they can, almost all of it, here locally. So you get local beef, you get the local potatoes, you get the local fish. The fish, you can't really catch them. It's catch and release in the lake, because by 1929, almost all the fish were gone, and they had to restock. So they have Chinook and salmon and trout, and they restocked the lake.
Redfish is one of the first lakes to ever be replenished professionally by a fish hatchery.
Yeah. And there's a fish hatchery, say that 3 times, on the way to Redfish. So after you go over Galena Summit and you get into kind of the lands that go towards Redfish.
Smiley Creek and the headwaters of the Salmon River.
Say some prayers for Smiley Creek, because right now we got yesterday, no, it was the day before, a picture from our cousin that showed us there's a huge fire at Smiley Creek right behind it, and Alturas Lake. And I don't know if the lodge at Smiley Creek made it or not.
It's also very adorable right on the highway there, on Highway 78. But here's the thing. When you're out there in the forest, I was going to wear my Smoky Bear hat today, and I didn't do it. But, you know, when you're out in the forest, you got to be really careful. Our camp host told us that the day that we got there, somebody just left a log in the fire going.
And left it over the fire ring.
Yeah,
so it was really dangerous.
So you could crawl out there, and it doesn't take much to ignite these forests. And this forest is a primitive forest, which means it is stunningly beautiful, giant trees, very healthy and green, but it just takes one negligent knothead to screw it all up for everybody. And if this lodge were to get lost, this is an American treasure, really. This is the stuff you see in the movies.
Yeah. What's cool though is the ranger came. When you rent a campsite, they have your vehicle information and they have your information. And so they sent the ranger after him, and he got a couple $100 ticket. So the rangers are really getting more aggressive at writing tickets.
And they carry guns.
So it's really important to follow the rules, which is putting out your fires completely before you go. I don't even know why they even allow fires anymore, but however they do. And to watch the noise, right? At 10 o'clock, there's supposed to be no noise, no generators. And they will come and kick you out, or they'll write you a ticket. So that's something to know, because they're getting more aggressive, which is a good thing. It keeps the ambiance of the forest still alive.
It does, yeah. And it's just too special to ruin. And we saw a lot of fires up there going on from negligence, mostly. They make the excuse of lightning, but a lot of people, the way they're set, you can see the way they're set.
And it's really hard. Lightning this time of year, we don't see a lot
Didn't
of
see any of it
here.
up there.
Yeah.
So you got to be really careful. Also, when we were there at Redfish, talking about fires, we witnessed one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And these giant fire bombers from the Forest Service were filling their tanks by landing on the lake. They just kind of fill up as they scoot across there and then take off again. And they did that all day, one day, and part of the day when we were there. We watched them.
It kind of reminded me of watching war movies, because I was born a little bit later than when we had wars, and I wasn't there during World War II, and it seemed eerie like that. You had 3 planes, and they all would come and touch down in the water. Everybody at Redfish Lake that had any watercraft had to leave the lake or go to the sides of the lake. And they did this for hours. It was probably 4 or 5 different times they came down, and they would just swoop down, grab the water, and then they couldn't get over the mountain range at the end, so they had to turn around and slowly gain in elevation. And when we were at the campground, they were right over our heads, so they weren't too much higher than the tree level at that point.
Because they were landing on the lake and we were right on the lake.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Pretty cool.
And the helicopters that came in with their buckets, and the fire's still going on. I just checked it out. It's called the Ross Fork Fire. So if you want to follow it, it's still going on. It's only smallly 10%, I think it was, contained when I looked at it. So say some good vibes and good prayers we don't want to lose Redfish Lake Lodge.
By the time you listen to this podcast down the road somewhere where this is all over with, this was history. But at the moment, it's pretty intense. And all over the United States, there's forest fires going on right now. And again, caused by negligence usually.
Yeah, be mindful.
Because the Forest Service is extremely diligent in managing this and taking care of it. And these guys do a masterful job of putting these fires out, and the risks and the lives that are lost because they're out there doing this, we have to respect that. It's just like a war hero.
And we almost lost the lodge back in, what was it, 2013, I think.
Yeah.
That everybody was evacuated, the campgrounds were evacuated, and it came really close. So just, I'm trust that we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Fine this year.
Well, you had the opportunity to talk to Austin, who is one of the lodge managers, kind of the marketing guy. They really don't need a marketing guy. I mean, this thing markets itself. All you got to do is see a photograph of it.
I bet you one of the challenging things about running the lodge, they get all their food brought in. However, they have a lot of people. They have a lot of workers. And what's really great is they get their workers out of the colleges in Utah and Salt Lake City especially, and they bring them up for the summer. And so we happened to get there right as a lot of them had already gone back to school. And so they leave a skeleton. And again, the lodge is not open very long. It's open from the first part of June, providing the weather is okay. And then this year it's till October 1st, so you can still go there. However, last year, September 13th was a big freeze. So, and I know that because talking to the camp host, and a lot of the pipes got frozen at the campground. So check the weather before you go out there. You really only have a 3, maybe 4-month window to get to Redfish Lake Lodge. The rest of the time of the year, especially in the winter, it's all frozen over.
Yeah,
so bring your snowmobile.
It's pretty wintry up there. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be there in the winter.
No. Although, Austin and his family has 3 little girls and himself, and they live in Stanley for the winter, and they love it.
Yeah, they say it's a great place, even though we're not promoting Stanley. So all you people in Stanley, please do not get mad at us. So let's hear what Austin has to say. Lisa had this great conversation with him, and he's got some enlightening information about Redfish Lake Lodge.
Welcome back to Frisky Biscuit Podcast. Today we have Austin at the Redfish Lake Lodge. Thank you for doing this, first off.
Of course.
And tell us a little bit about your lodge, where it's located, and how it came about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here at Redfish Lake Lodge in Stanley, Idaho. The lodge has actually been here since 1929. It was built by Robert Limbert, who was an incredible Idaho kind of Renaissance man. He was a painter. He was a explorer and an author, sharpshooter, and this was kind of his vision to build the lodge. And my family's been here since 1999, operating the lodge here. And we're very grateful to be here. This is our 24th year now. So. 24 season.
And how has it changed from the last 24 years? The lodge, the people? Are the people different?
Yeah, I don't know that the people are different. You know, when I was a boy up here, I mean, it was still busy in July and August, but with the advent of social media and just the growth of Idaho in general, there's definitely been an increase in visitation, especially day traffic. You know, as Boise and Twin Falls and some local areas have grown, we've kind of felt that day traffic increase. But you know, I think the type of people are the same. It's people that are wanting to kind of turn their back on the grind of civilization a little bit and come up and breathe some mountain air and experience some Idaho hospitality up here. It's we're trying our best to stay true to that. So.
And I love that you don't really have a lot of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So people come to the lodge just to check their cell phones,
Right.
and then they're out in the wilderness taking the boats. You can take the boats up the canyon, right?
Correct. Yeah, we operate a hiker shuttle, and you can take that shuttle across the lake. It saves you 6 miles of hiking one way or 12 miles round trip, and they'll drop you off right in the Sawtooth Wilderness there. And there's incredible hiking and climbing, all sorts of great wilderness access over there.
And do you see a magic of the lake lodges versus just a resort, say the new Margaritaville, for instance, in Florida? What do you see the difference of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with our lake lodge, this is a place of lots of history. We often use the word magic. There's just something up here about the lake and about the lodge. I mean, we're the only building really on the lake, and so you know, it's just a really special attraction. And I think there is something that kind of takes you back in time. It's familiar, it's homey, if you will, and there's kind of a tradition here of just summer adventure and experiences with people you love, and that's kind of where the magic comes from. So, plus, obviously, the surroundings here at Redfish, it's a spectacularly beautiful place, so it's incredible.
And you have cabins too, right?
We
That people
do,
can stay
yeah.
at?
We have 40 total rental units here. We actually have 3 properties in Stanley that we also rent that are kind of boutique cabins, smaller inns that we also rent. But here at Redfish, we have 8 lodge rooms here upstairs in the historic lodge, and then we have 32 cabins kind of spread out throughout the property.
For those of our listeners that travel a lot, do they have to have advance reservations to come to the lodge, or can they just show up? Do you have space? How does that work?
Yeah, so to stay with us in our lodging, we open up for our reservations on September 6th. It's always the day after Labor Day. We'll open up for the following season.
Oh.
And July and August go very quickly. We do have a group of what we call legacy guests. Those are some of our guests that have been staying with us for 15 years or longer consecutively. Some of them go back several generations, and we do allow them to pre-book when they come in. But July and August, if you want a good shot at staying in the cabins here with us, you need to be on that day right after Labor Day. If you're traveling with a camper or with an RV or something, we don't operate, the lodge doesn't operate the campgrounds. They're operated through recreation.gov and through the Forest Service concessionaire, but those you can make those reservations 6 months in advance, or a lot of them are first come, first served.
And what's your website?
Yeah, we are on redfishlake.com.
Redfishlake.com.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else that our travelers are from all over, mostly the United States, Western United States, that you'd like to?
No, that's great.
tell
I
them?
mean, this is an awesome place to be. You know, July and August are our peak energy, high season times. If you want a little bit more relaxed experience, I'd say come after school starts, basically, and on weekdays, then you really kind of get a little bit more of the original feel than the high energy feel. But other than that, we're very grateful to be here. So.
Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you
course.
for the interview, and we appreciate Redfish Lake Lodge outside of Stanley, Idaho.
Thank you so much, Austin, for taking the time. Boy, those guys were busy as hell when we were there, too. They didn't have a lot of time to do anything, and they were kind enough to give us time.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
And kind of gave us the run of the place, too. We'd plug our little bikes in, and of course, we ate a lot of food. I think we paid for ourselves.
A lot of food. And I love that we were able to do the interview by the fireplace because they have this really old fireplace. It's just magic. And the lodge itself is magic. And our last day, actually second to last day, I think we stayed an extra day. We had a great opportunity to meet Mark and Trish from KYD.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen them on YouTube, go check them out. They have a great website. If you're new to RVing, their website's fabulous. I would go to their shop first because I like to shop because they have all kinds of wonderful things. I've bought several things from them, and it's an Amazon. It's an affiliate shop, but they just put the right things on there so you don't waste a lot of money. And they're just a really nice couple. We really want to thank you, Mark and Trish, for taking the time to talk to us. I know you were just eating breakfast and you didn't expect to talk to anybody, but it really was a treasure.
They're out there hiding. But the point of it is, to their credit, you know, a lot of people on YouTube that have made it big, and they have, by the way, they've done extremely well. And they're just good people. They have a good heart, and they know where they came from, and they know where they want to go. But they're the kind of people that when you're with them, like when we were there, I would swear that we'd known them for years.
Well, I also love the fact that I've met a lot of famous people because I had high-end vacation rentals for years and was in the cruise ship industry. And, you know, I've just met a lot of movie stars just because I got lucky, I suppose, and people that also were in that industry. And what I found fascinating is not a lot, but sometimes what they project out on the screen or their famous part of themselves isn't who they are at all. And with Mark and Trish, I love the fact that you were you. You know how Mark talks to you when you watch his videos, or if you already have, he talks to you in the camera and he's telling you about the tire or about his truck or where they are. And you feel like he's talking to you, right? That's exactly what you get when you talk to him personally. And same with Trish. She loves to cook. I wish she lived next door. I told you that.
No kidding. That little gal can cook.
And she's just so bubbly, and she was like that at breakfast. So it was really a treasure to see that you are who you are.
No kidding. It was just a joy to see them, and I know they were shocked that we got up and we were sitting right there by them. But they handled it so well, and thanks you guys. And also, like Lisa said, if you're starting out with a camper, even if you're not a YouTuber or any of that kind of stuff, God, he's got some videos that are so helpful because he talks about the BS of, you know, one of the things about camping, what people attempt to do is to get us to go out there and just buy a bunch of stupid stuff. And we did a little bit of that, but because we watched them, we didn't buy as much stupid stuff as we could have, because they put this fear porn in you that you got to have this and you got to have that. And Mark, through because they started not knowing what the hell they were doing either, and he's done a lot of videos on what you require and what is just not required at all, and it's just junk, and you're spending money on stuff you don't need when you're out there RVing. So he did one of the things about RVing you heard me talk about is tires. And man, I'll tell you what, he just did a video on tires and how to take care of them, what to look for, and how to do this correctly. And I suggest anybody, even if you're just driving a car, watch that video on how to measure the biggest question is cold tire pressure versus just tire pressure. And he explains it and shows how to do it correctly. And I gave him some credit for that because it was really well done. And, you know, there's all kinds of pros out there in these tire companies, and they haven't done one as well as Mark has. So good for you, Mark, and we really enjoyed talking to you guys.
And, you know, one other thing, we don't want to keep going on about KYD. Keep your daydream, by the way, is what it means. But one thing I really like about them is they do their YouTube videos in series, like they did Route 66. So if you're going down Route 66, it's worth going to their series of Route 66. This year they're doing national parks. So at the end of the season, if you're planning on doing that next season, you can go see what they've done. And they're very entertaining. It's not too long. It's not too short. Mark does an amazing job. I was shocked that he does his own video editing.
And he's great at it, by the way.
He has a course too. Didn't you take his course?
Yes, it's Mark, I'm sorry. when you look at this video. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm still working on improving and being like you.
Yeah. You do a great job all around, both of you guys. And Kayla, we didn't get to meet you, but maybe we will. Maybe you want to come on our show sometime.
So enough of that. Thanks for talking to us and acting like you knew us. And, when we're out there motorhoming, one of the things that we notice is there's different personalities go with different vehicles. And Lisa did a little bit of research and found some funny stuff about the motorhome you're driving, or the camper, or the way you camp, if it's a tent or a camper on a truck. What does that say about you? It's kind of one of those soothsaying and dragon slaying kind of things. I don't know how much truth is in it, but it did fit kind of us, which was embarrassing.
Yes.
And it isn't the profile of myself that I actually had.
Well, it's an article actually that I wrote, so I have to give credit to Liz Wilcox because she's the one that wrote the article. However, it seems so true. Okay, so we're going to start out with luxury motorhomes. So if you're going camping, you just want to do it in style. That's what she's saying about luxury motorhomes. You can watch TV.
What is a luxury motorhome?
Well, I would say a Class A. I would say something big, something that has everything in it, that has a shower, a bathroom, a closet, a beautiful kitchen, and a big TV. Like, that's how I think of luxury as. Somewhere that has those chairs that go back that you can kick your feet up.
Ours has got all that, and it's not a Class A, though, see? So
yeah, I think, though, that it's saying that you're not a tiny home at all. Like, ours is more smaller. They bring their home with them.
The giants. You can't even turn them around anywhere. And
then you have Class Bs. Okay, so Class B, those of you that do not know what Class B is, it's a van, basically. And you just have to agree to call this a van, but they do call it a Class B. And we admit
nobody
it's a
wants to be caught
van.
Sleeping in a van down by the river is what you're saying. Right.
It's a sweet van. However, they always say, people are always asking them, and they say, quit asking me if you want to buy my van. So that's what you get with the van people, the Class B. Do you want to sell it? And they're going, no way. We're going to keep this van forever. And of course they never do, but they always say that. And then you have the B plus. That's what we have. It's on a B chassis, so it's on a van chassis, but it's built out on each side and a little bit longer. Like, we're 25 feet. And they say with Class B plus, and this is where Gary was saying is a little embarrassed, is you're old. And you want a simple life. And I don't consider us old. However, we do want a simple life. And I would say most of the Class B plus people have a Shih Tzu or a little dog, a barky little dog. So it's usually couples with barky little dogs.
I wish I wouldn't have said a weenie dog.
No, we have Gary. And Mark and Trish, we didn't do this after your Gary. This is our Gary.
Yes. Yeah.
It's our bobblehead that goes along with us. Okay, Class Cs. You know what Class Cs are, right? They're like a Class B plus, but they have that overhang over the front. It's kind of the original B plus, but they're Cs. They're a little bit bigger. And you're either a family with small kids going on vacation, or you're a couple looking for your next great hiking adventure.
Or it's a rental.
Oh my gosh, we've seen so many rentals this year. I've never seen that many rentals.
When we went over to Tetons, we saw about 27 of those Cruise America rentals, which I think is great. To see them out there. Not everybody can afford a motorhome, but they're renting those. People are renting them.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And I think the thing that most of those people say is there's no storage. They can go anywhere, and that's why they do it. It's easy to maneuver and get around, but there's no storage. I would say in ours, though, we have a lot of storage. We were really lucky.
You brought around every pair of shoes you've got.
No, not everyone. There is storage. I love that. Okay, truck campers. What do you think about truck campers? Well, according to Liz, you're a rugged mountain man with a sordid past, just passing through town. And at least that's what people think of you. Although you really just want to please. You're really a nice guy, but you look like the average Joe when you walk out. You know, they see it and they're wondering, who are you? Although I've seen a lot of them where they're like these big bearded husky mountain men with a big dog. And I always wonder, how do you do that? You have a camper van and you have this dog that's as bigger than you in the camper van.
Looks like a
with
bear.
You. Yeah. That's what I've seen. But they say, a lot of them are just your average Joes and they just want to please everybody. Okay, Airstream. See a lot of Airstreams out there.
That's Mark and Tish, by the way.
Yeah, this is you guys. You're in a league all of your own. You're cute. You're hip. You either had a lot of money to buy new or you had some money stashed away for renovations. And we're all really happy for you. That's what she says. I think these are pretty true. Okay, the standard tow trailer. You're logical. You're practical. You ain't spending a ton of money. That's true. The people we know that have tower trailers. The RV suits all your needs and nothing more. You've got the one just enough storage and space for you, your kids, and your pets. You want to spend as much time outside as possible, and that dang trailer is going to make it happen for you. Like the rest of the RV community, you're just looking for a little slice of heaven. So that kind of fits, yeah?
It does. I'm just kind of classifying, as you're saying that, some of the people we know, and it really is kind of true.
Yeah,
You know, it's like my daughter. They've got a pop-up, and just
they're always outside.
Always outside, just spend as little as they possibly could, but it's a cool rig.
And they made it so cute.
Yeah.
And they have a lot more storage because they have a car, right? They tow it with their car.
And I'm thinking of our neighbors. He's going to hate this, but we're not going to say who it is. He's pushing him to get a new trailer. Nah, he just doesn't want to spend the money on it. Just this is good enough.
And they have fun.
And he repairs it and fixes a roof on it and just works his ass off on it.
And as a dog.
The
cutest dog. You've met him, Rudy. Remember Rudy? One of our earlier ones. Okay.
They probably got more sense than anybody.
Probably more than us.
We way overspent.
Yeah, I love our Class B plus though. We may be old, we may not have a dog, but we have luxury and we
money.
can go anywhere.
It's all in the motorhome.
Okay, the teardrop. This is what she says. Does a bear relieve himself in the woods? So do you. Seriously though, they're really into the simple life. Which I would say it's simple because it's small, right? And you're towing it along with you.
There's nowhere to go in it. There's no bathroom.
No.
There's not barely a place. Some of those barely a place to sleep. If you get up too fast, you're going to have a concussion from bumping your head on the roof.
I know.
I don't know how they can even call those a camper.
Well, then you get into the fifth wheel, right? That goes from the teardrop
To the monster.
to the monster. You want an RV with all the comforts of home, but you can't afford a luxury motorhome. Bingo. Fifth wheel, you brag about your RV kitchen. And everybody we know that has a fifth wheel or we watch on Sunday night on our shows that has a fifth wheel, they brag about their RV kitchen because it has an island in it. And who can blame you? I mean, it's a beautiful kitchen. And they have a respectable refrigerator and they have a pantry that holds their Sam's Club's peanut butter. I think that she nailed the fifth wheels.
The funny thing about some of those fifth wheels, like the Grand Designs and the nice expensive ones, the Lux, those things cost as much as a house.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. And the Class A's, you get up to $1 million for one of those big buses. But some of these are almost as expensive.
And I noticed she didn't go into the exact type of people because I see couples with families, I see singles. Everybody, there's no one, niche of people in the fifth wheels.
Right.
Now, the toy hauler, there's only two more. The toy hauler, you're super into nature and tearing it up. There's nothing like taking the quad out in Moab and getting it done. You see what I'm saying? Then you head on down to the motocross competition to watch your kid take those ruts like a champ, or maybe you have a motorcycle.
These guys are the ones that make all the noise.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
The razor haulers.
Yep. They bring their toys with them. They love their toys and they love their beer. They love their friends to come around and they love blasting the radio in the background. That's what
Totally.
she's saying about the toy hauler people.
Remember over there at Bear Lake when we were there, that one toy hauler, a big giant fifth wheel? Man, they were playing. They had a 60-inch television on the side of the thing, and then they were playing stereo music constantly, and their dog barked the entire time.
Yep. And remember how many toys? Everybody that had fifth wheels, and there was a lot of them there, they had so many
They
toys.
had jet skis, razors. They had.
I mean, it must take them a half a day just to pack everything
How
up.
many jobs do they have to pay for all that crap?
Well, are they paid for?
That's right. Or is
Charge it. Let's charge it.
Good point. Good point.
That's an interesting place to go. In fact, we are doing a series on lake lodges. Well, lodges in general, a few of them aren't on the lakes themselves. They're by a river because they go fly fishing because of, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. That's what we do up here. We have a lot of fishing resorts and fishing areas. But we're going to do we're doing a series on lodges, and Redfish Lake Lodge is our first one. So keep an eye out for those. And you'll see on our thumbnails that it'll say the Lake Lodge series or the Lodge series on it. So look for those as we come about. So we have one more. What do you think it is? It's the schoolie. We can't.
Oh, that's right.
Stop
Old
without
restored
having
school
a
buses.
schoolie. We all see
What does
them.
that say about you if you're driving a schoolie?
You're tired of these money-hungry RV manufacturers with their shoddy craftsmanship, if you can even call it that. In fact, you're pretty tired of a lot of things. No longer will you live by everybody's standard except your own. That's why you decided to get the bus to freedom. It's dependable, sturdy, and full of possibility, just like you. Maybe you'll get plumbing for it. Maybe you won't. All you know is the open road is calling your name and you must go. And I have to add to that, and you probably breaking down a lot because they're old. A lot of them are.
They are. And you know what? I cannot think of one of them that's ever been totally finished.
I know.
Because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to buy a van. I'll just go ahead and convert it myself. But if you own one of these things and you look at what's inside the walls and under it's like an airplane, you do not want to do that if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
I have to say, though, the people we've met that have done van conversions do it really well, and they've all finished them. I haven't met one person with a van conversion that hasn't finished them. However, with the schoolies, I haven't met one person. We've only met a few, but that has finished them, and we've seen them on more of those on the side of the road than anything else.
I tell you, I've never seen one finished. And the ones that's leaving painted like a school bus, I mean, that's embarrassing to school buses.
They are. The little ones are cute, though. I have to give them that.
Yeah,
And they have a lot of room in them.
So Lisa was telling me this morning before we went on the podcast about this thing that happened. I can't remember where
it was over Labor Day weekend. We always make fun of everything, including ourselves, and we just have to make fun of the electric cars just because it's a little ridiculous that it's doing it so fast. I think, for me personally, I think we ought to do it, but just do it slowly. Well, these people were from Washington, D.C. They decided to take their car out for Labor Day weekend. It's all electric, mind you. And they drove to West Virginia, and they ran out of electricity. Now, when you run out of electricity in an electric car, you can't put gas in it to go. You can't just recharge it with a battery, and tow trucks do not have batteries that charge them fast enough. So the only thing to do is push it or get it towed. So they were rescued by a group of coal miners, and they have the picture of the coal miners pushing the vehicles, and they gave them a license plate to remember coal miners, that they wanted to let people know that they are really loving human beings because they get a bad rap. But I thought that was the best. The coal miners pushing the people that had the electric vehicle.
I think that is total justice. I love that. Oh, man, what a note to end on.
I bet Elon's
And also
laughing
California. Enjoy those electric cars there since they won't let you charge them anymore. Man, the world has gone crazy. And I tell you what, people accuse us of that too. Hey, speaking of crazy, comment. Please comment and let us know what you're thinking.
Our YouTube channel, Frisky Biscuit Podcast, or you can go to our website, frisky-biscuit, just put a dash.com, or any of the channels for podcasts. We're on all of them. We're on 18 of them, so you can hear us there.
We're big now.
We're getting there.
Also, if you go to a local theater, do not let us scare you when we jump off the screen at you. We appreciate
You'll see us before the
appreciate
movie. You'll
the
see
comments
us.
on that. We got a new trailer coming out in the movie theaters,
October 28th.
the local movie theaters, or wherever we're showing them in movie theaters. So until next time, we're going to be in another place, I believe.
Yes, we're going to go up to Orofino and watch the guys do the logs.
The Lumberjack Festival.
Lumberjack Festival.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about wood, big wood.
Yeah.
Until next time, this is Dr. G
And Lisa.
saying bye-bye. We love all of you. Have a safe week. And remember, put out those forest fires by not starting them, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.